Hello, my name is Joseph May, and you're listening to Entrepreneur Stories.
Alright, kick back, relax, and grab yourself a beverage. Or hop if you wanna just bounce to my leverage. The evidence, as they say, is in the pudding. So show me the money like my name was Cuban.
Hello, and welcome to episode 53 of Entrepreneur Stories. Today, we are really excited to have Jordan England on the podcast. Jordan is the CEO and founder of Industry West Furniture. Industry West is an exclusively online furniture company that he started about 8 years ago. He has an incredible journey on how he got it started and how he's been able to keep it going, different things he's learned along the way. We're really excited to have him with us and to share all of his knowledge with us. We also have a little treat for you, from both of our companies, from the Breton Company and Industry West. We are going to do a 15% off coupon off both of our websites. The coupon code is BretonIW, and that is spelled BRETONIW, and that can get you 15% off either of our sites. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview.
Sure. So my background is actually, I'm from Hilton Head, South Carolina. I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia, Emory University, graduated there in 2003 with a degree in history and political science, and thought I was going to go to law school. Decided that I had to join up with some friends that were getting involved in the real estate market, working for some developers, and straight out of college went up there and started selling basically resort homes, second homes, land, things like that. And kind of really enjoyed it. It's part of like the real estate boom, and pretty successful right out of school. And just as quickly, that thing hit the fan in 2007, 8. And so I ended up taking a job for an economic development agency organization in South Carolina, trying to, bring jobs to the low country of South Carolina. And but had always kind of had an interest in, design, architecture, travel, how things work, how things are made. Looking back, kind of didn't really realize that I probably was a lot more entrepreneurial and creative than I gave myself credit for. And, just basically started looking around. My wife and I were, while I was working in economic development, we were just looking to furnish our house with some great looking stuff. And the stuff that we liked was, antique items or older industrial products, and couldn't find anything at a reasonable, price point. And so literally went, and I'd heard about, this is back in 2008, I guess, 2009, about, Alibaba. And so I just started emailing, furniture factories and talking about, hey, we've got this idea for this. If you ever, manufactured products like this, and, requested a couple samples. So basically, I still had my first invoice. It was $288 that I had 4 chairs kind of fabricated out of steel at a factory in Asia, and had them shipped over to South Carolina and just put them around my dining room table. And I was like, I wonder what people would pay for these on eBay. And so I put up an auction, and hadn't really done much with eBay, but within a couple of days, it was bid up to around $1,300. So I thought, interesting, maybe there's a market for this product. And so, I took the proceeds of that and just invested that back into more product, more inventory, and literally have been growing organically like that since really got that kind of going around 2010. And then we launched a website shortly thereafter, and just has been going and growing ever since. And we've not been like most startups that probably have more of a concrete plan and course of action, and want to go about fundraising and getting capital to kind of follow a defined strategy and plan. We've really just been growing, bootstrapping it from day one, managing things very precisely and remaining profitable since the beginning. So a little different than, we've been able to grow and stay profitable. So, a lot of companies now it's grow, and we'll get profitability at some point in the future. But we've kind of taken an opposite approach, and we kind of have a startup mentality still every day, but we're always just as focused on making sure that we're building something that's sustainable. We stock the product. We have somewhat sophisticated ways around how we do that, but that's the quick story in a nutshell. So this year now we'll probably, with distribution centers in California and then in Florida and other ones on the horizon, we'll import probably over 550 to close to 600 full container loads of furniture this year that we distribute across Canada, North America, Canada, Mexico, and the United States, really. Just pure play e-commerce. We have no physical locations. So getting more and more challenging to do that. But, that's a high, quick overview of kind of how we got the thing started.
Talking about how you guys have no physical store, and you guys have been around for eight years, almost 9 years, right?
We incorporated in 2010. So,
Okay.
we were kind of operating for that a little while before we kind of got things organized.
Yeah.
But yeah, so around 7.5 years.
Okay. And have you guys ever been tempted to have like a physical storefront?
We really haven't. It's kind of a hot topic right now. In retail conversations and discussions about the future of retail and what's going on in terms of like the whole clicks to bricks movement. But
Oh yeah.
we've talked about it. We've explored some opportunities or some potential opportunities, but to date, no, we've never had a physical store.
Huh. That's really fascinating. So you guys have two distribution centers then, right? Do you have one on the East Coast and the West Coast for shipping, or?
We do. So we have about 80,000 square feet here in Florida, and that's operated by a third party, but it's pretty close to our corporate office, so we're able to kind of be very hands-on there.
Yeah.
And in California, in Irvine, Los Angeles, we have another facility that handles. It's not quite as large. It's maybe 45,000 square feet. That we have a smaller stock count there, or at least inventory range. But our biggest market is California, so it allows us to have inventory close there and to receive product more timely from some of our different facilities overseas.
Oh, okay. So do you get most of your stuff from Asia? Is that where most of it's being made?
So, our largest factory is located in Asia. So we right now are in about 15 different countries. We're in China, of course, over there, Indonesia, Vietnam, and there are a lot of it's done in Europe as well. So we do a good bit in Croatia, Romania, Belgium, France, and Portugal.
Okay.
And then this year we have some new relationships, so they're launching some new product lines manufactured in Mexico. And then we do some of our higher end upholstery goods are done in Los Angeles. And we do a lot of product finishing and things here in Jacksonville, custom powder coating, custom upholstery, things like that.
Wow. That's like a really complex supply chain. Do you have, how many people work for your company now?
It's always people ask that a lot, and it's hard to say. I think on a daily basis, full time, I would guess that, we have somewhere around 40 people. However, our main office is only 15 people on payroll. So, but in terms of our warehouse here, like I mentioned, is 7 full-time staff, but they're not on our payroll. But it's only our product in that building, so they might as well be on payroll. But it's a lot easier to say, hey, we want this changed, and that other management team has to handle. there are pluses and minuses to running the warehouse, outsourcing it
Yeah.
or running it ourselves. But we have a very good relationship with the management team over at that company, and it's been a relationship that's worked well for both of us.
Very cool. Very
So-
cool. So,
It's complicated.
I'm sorry, what?
I said the supply chain is complicated, though.
Yeah, you got a lot of moving parts. I try to keep it really simple, one factory, one
Yeah.
leather supplier, but I mean, you have so many different products, it's much more complex than just one or two different SKUs. You guys have, from what I can tell, I mean, at least 100 different SKUs on your website. Is that right, or is that
Actually have about 4,000.
4,000?
We do. So
Wow.
managing, inventory, and I think most people would say, having been in inventory businesses, that it's just at a certain point it becomes just beyond challenging, and
Yeah.
we've certainly experienced that from time to time. But I've hired some really good operations people, supply chain experts, and things that have really helped to alleviate some of the pain that comes in that. But
Yeah.
I mean, furniture is a tricky, challenging industry to get to, from the factory to the consumer, and that last mile. It's very difficult because it's large, it's expensive to move, and a lot of it's easily damaged. So,
Oh yeah.
joke that next time around we're gonna sell T-shirts, but
Yeah.
but I mean, it's an industry that's, it's $100 billion a year industry in the United States, and it's got low, market penetration in terms of e-commerce. I think it's getting a lot more competitive, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot of room for growth, and there's a lot of runway, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys haven't taken any investors. You haven't had any investors along the way.
No, we haven't. We haven't at all, and I don't think we're ever planning to do that. I mean, there are certainly competitors of ours that I follow and have a lot of respect and admiration for, that have gone that route, and I think that there's a lot of benefits to that. I mean, you can certainly scale faster.
Yeah.
But for us, like I mentioned earlier, we've made being profitable as important as growth. And so people a lot of people I talk to about the business think that it happens so quickly, but I mean, you want to call it, in tech industry or e-commerce as it goes, like 7.5 years is a fairly long amount of time.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, we've grown to be considerable in size, but it's taken some time, and we've grown, in my opinion, I think at a not too breakneck pace. I think it's been a good, steady, year over year, been between 60 and 80%, year over year. So we try to maintain that, and at a certain point, that becomes really difficult without those kind of capital injections. But I'd rather for us to focus on maintaining a certain level of profitability. I read these stories about I was listening to a podcast yesterday, listening to the former CEO of Fab.com about going from 20 million to 100 million, but it would have been better to go from 20 to 40 and remain profitable than to burning through cheap capital. Not cheap.
Yeah, definitely, because you give up so much with it when you do that. Yeah,
you do.
It's nothing's free. That's for sure. Nothing's free. Yeah. So when you left, you were going to go to law school, and you went into real estate. Was it ever did you grow up around entrepreneurs? How did you, because you started it and you kind of, not accidentally, but you slowly, got it going. What was it that got you to take that leap, to actually spend more money, get more furniture, and just kind of go after it?
I mean, I think a lot of that is just the fun of, I always felt kind of in my past, I guess I was surrounded by quite a few entrepreneurs. My father was a physician. My mother was more entrepreneurial than he was in a lot of ways, and always made his medical practice more successful in terms of cutting edge and business development and things. But I think probably more so, like when I look back, like being young and having a job all the time since I was 13, just wanting to have the freedom and flexibility to be my own boss, I think. And I always questioned things and had always looked back, even when I was, in the real estate industry, it was trying to be creative and independent in ways that would allow me to stand out from my competitors or peers. And when it came to this, I just kind of, you get so many ideas and you're like, everybody's always wants to shoot down like, hey, why is nobody doing this? And then you're told, well, somebody's probably done it or somebody else is doing it. Well, it's not necessarily the case. If you have an idea and you see a path to the market and profitability, I think you just have to go out there and do it. And I mean, I've started other businesses since then that have not been successful. And, we have a lot of things in the works, other things in the works right now, but just because someone says somebody else is doing it is not the case. So not necessarily the case. So I think, realizing that having the time to do it and just taking the plunge and saying, you know what, nobody is doing this. So it is a good idea, and I'm going to be the one to execute it. It's just kind of the way.
That's cool.
That I came about.
That's very cool. And so, as you've grown, how do you guys? So one of the problems that I run into, and many other people that I know, with an all online businesses, is getting money for inventory. How do you guys do that? Because if you don't have a physical store or a physical store giving you POs, it's hard to take to factor to get someone to give you money based on the PO. What is if you don't mind sharing, how do you guys continue to fund and get inventory on a consistent basis?
Well, being profitable and having really great cash flow is certainly helped a lot. I think. Because we've continued to grow at the same pace. We're just funding our inventory through our own revenue and our own, profit. So, almost all of it's always reinvested back into the inventory. Yeah. So, we run and, we're constantly we're running cost downs with suppliers and trying to, renegotiate shipping lines and LTL things. But we don't really, we have a few customers we put on terms, maybe 30. And they're larger customers we're really big in the tech communities. So we do a ton of business up in Silicon Valley and, Google, Facebook, Apple. These are our kind of bread and butter customers.
Oh, really?
Starbucks. So, so some of those customers, we do have on terms and we issue POs. We have enough free cash flow that we're able to kind of fund those, large purchase orders on our own. But I understand where that can be challenging. But the other side of that is that we do collect, we collect 100% of payment up front. So a lot of companies don't, charge you until your product is shipped. Well, we do collect customers' money up front. So I guess if everybody hadn't been invoiced and shipped out, people could all call it at once, and then we maybe have a problem. But that's not going to happen. So, but yeah, so we just kind of have to be able to fight through our own capital.
That's pretty cool. So, I'm fascinated. Who designs everything? Because I'm looking. I've looked through your website a couple times, and there's so many different designs, and furniture's not I feel like my designs are so much easier to deal with than what you guys have going on with all the moving pieces. Are you the lead designer, or do you guys have a designer? What's your kind of process?
I'm not. So that's actually part of the business that's evolved a bit from previous years in terms of it was originally just our own kind of brand of designs, and then as we kind of got more market penetration and a larger inventory of styles, I found that we would go to trade shows and we would be talking to customers about furniture needs that they were having or that they had. we go to these, the Maison Objet in Paris or the Salon del Mobile in Milan, and these other factories or brands didn't really want to work with a company that didn't promote other, everybody loves their own furniture, but there are, other higher end brands. So we started a couple of relationships 5 or 6 years ago with several companies, one in Romania, one in Belgium, that have a lot of like some Scandinavian designers or Belgian designers that then manufacture in Vietnam, of course. So we started to feature kind of and promote those brand names. So we kind of so I would say maybe 35% of our product, 40% is product that we've either designed or have tweaked from existing range from a factory or from their designers. And then the other 50 or 60% is from, for instance, Ethnicraft is a Belgian company that manufactures in Vietnam and Indonesia and a little bit in China and Croatia. So they're a company, we promote their name. We're probably their largest distributor in the United States. It's a little different that instead of being a distributor, we actually purchase stock and have it. So one of our differentiators has been that because we have stock, you amazed, and I'm still amazed that we'll get a call today from Rockwell, New York, and they'll say, "Hey, I need 200 red bar stools by in a week," and a lot of times we have that product to ship them. So it was a lot easier when we could do it with 100 SKUs. Having 4,000 is trickier. But we're pretty transparent about that stuff, and we try to be transparent with our customers and not over promise things, but we do try to deliver on those requests.
That's really cool. So when did you guys stop? I mean, because it's kind of counterintuitive of like, and maybe this is just kind of in the kind of soft goods area, but of a brand carrying another brand's design or company, other products from another brand. When did you guys start doing that? Was that kind of immediately out of the gate you had that opportunity, or did that kind of evolve over time?
That kind of evolved over time. I think, initially when it was just everything was under our own brand name, I was unable to get a lot of the manufacturers to work with us or to, basically sell to us. I mean, a lot of times in this industry, it's interesting. Like you feel like you're being interviewed as a potential, customer of these factories or these other brands. So, it's kind of like, why should we sell to you? Especially a lot of the old world European brands. They're kind of, they all love their furniture so much. They don't want to sell it to you. Yeah. So, there's a lot of that. But once we started, getting some traction and we're really successful with how we protect some of the higher end brands, and we really started to move large quantities out. And we're pretty much very particular about how we promote brands, how we photograph product. Everything we do is in-house regarding that. And we don't sell on third-party platforms. We kind of hold that kind of those kind of digital assets very tightly. But once we started kind of, really protecting some of the other higher end brands that took a risk on working with us, like we started getting approached by a lot of companies. So it made sense to enter, to work with more, other brands. So that's kind of always evolving. And I think eventually, one of the things that I do see happening is that like those companies will become competition as well. Our own customers will. So, as I mentioned Ethnicraft. I mean, eventually they'll probably be selling directly to our customers through their own, streamlined sales channels. But yeah, it's a little bit different. But I mean, like any industry, the longer you're in it, you realize how small it is. And, West Elm is manufacturing at the same facilities we are, the same facilities that, Design Within Reach has product lines being made. I mean, it's a smaller industry than people realize, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's fascinating. Like that's very cool that you guys have been able to get a furniture. I mean, it, like you said, like furniture company, at least to me, has always seemed like an old and like a hard business to crack because it is so established, and it's awesome that you guys have been able to start one and really leverage the internet and the power that online shopping is.
I think early on it's like I didn't really focus on like what our competition was doing or who that even was. I just really loved the process of, curating collections and presenting it online. And, I couldn't believe who our customers were from early on. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're putting stuff in, the New York Yankees, a new complex. And I mean, there's like not like an NBA team, NFL, Major League Baseball, tech company that like we haven't put something from our range, in their place. So it's just amazing to be able to. And but we've kind of flown under the radar in terms of, I don't think we're necessarily a super well-known company, but in terms of my competitors too. Lately, it's been like we're maybe a little bit more on the radar than we used to be, but we still kind of, I think a lot of that takes on the identity of the founder. So for me, like I'm kind of tend to be that way, and it's served us well. But I mean, but yeah, traditionally speaking, the industry is somewhat difficult to gain traction.
Yeah, I mean that's fascinating. It's amazing. I mean, it's so cool to. To see how other people get into these creative industries, and be able to make a difference and make market penetration and continue to grow. So who's the coolest? I mean, you've said you've been name dropping quite a bit with with the different places you've sent your furniture to, like Google and Apple and the Yankees. What's the coolest one that you've got where you've just been like, okay, we've made it? So-and-so sits his bottom on one of my sofas.
Yeah, I mean that's tough to say like specifically, but I do find that like I'm fascinated by tech businesses and tech companies. So where I see like Apple, Google. I would have said Uber maybe a year ago, but now I'm like, but I mean, when you see a check show up and it's got like New York Yankees logo on it, I'm like, okay, I think there's a little bit of validation, So, that one was pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah.
I actually took a picture of that and put it on like Instagram or something, and it was well liked. But there's a lot. Like last week, like I found myself, I'm overhearing stuff, in the office, and someone's like, "You're telling me they delivered it to Miss Pelosi's former office and not her new location?" Not to get political, but we did a living room set and stuff for Nancy Pelosi's new offices in DC. So there's a pretty broad range of interesting places where we've sent stuff. We actually have I don't know if you guys use Slack, but we love Slack in our office and have been on it since pretty early. And we have one of our channels that's just basically we call the list. And so every day our teams, dropping just like, a customer that they're working with today. So like today is, I just pulled it up as L'Oreal, Hyatt, Disney, Weston, Dierks Bentley, I guess the musician.
Oh yeah.
Starbucks, Hilton, Topgolf, St. Regis. We do a lot of work with WeWork.
Okay.
Rag and Bone. That's just the last day or two.
Wow.
So there's awesome customers, and for our staff, we're able to like get on the phone and talk about all the places that we're business. So
yeah. So do you guys do? It sounds like you guys do quite a bit of business where people call in and buy it from you. Is that correct, or is it mostly people just entering their credit card info and then they get a couch?
So it's both. I mean, so we recently had the 4th iteration of our website, and we try to create a lot more, more user-friendly experience for our contract customer. So we have the ability to kind of curate projects and, create wish lists and things that we're getting quite a bit of use. And actually Magento just did a case study on the website build, but, and so that, a lot of it is just going on and filling credit card out. And it's about 40% to do that. But then a lot of it is just assisted, someone will be on the website, which is because it's our only, catalog, and they'll call up and I mean, of course, we train our staff that if they're asking you about if we have 40 of those chairs and they call on the phone, like, we'll take your credit card right now, of course. So, so that's always a tough thing to track from, our marketing team's standpoint. How, is that technically a web, a true website sale, a e-commerce sale, or is that something that's generated by, the call center?
Yeah.
But yeah, a little less than half of it is someone that we may never have had an actual, conversation with on the telephone.
Wow, that's cool. So do you guys do a lot of like Facebook advertising, or?
We do. I mean, being, pure play e-commerce, our biggest expense on the bottom is advertising. And so, we have a great, chief marketing officer who's came over to us from Savannah College of Art Design. And, we're very heavy on, making that a very agile part of the business, but, it's certainly getting more and more expensive to play in the industry in terms of, just Google AdWords is just one example, but, cost per click is being driven up by, these high growth companies that don't make money, but, they get a piece of the market share, a bigger piece. So, it's getting more and more expensive to play. And I think if this was today and I wanted to start the same business today, I don't think there's really a market for it. It's just too expensive to enter the marketplace. So, so we're constantly trying to diversify, different ways to get, customer acquisition online. So it's not just Google, it's Facebook, Pinterest, blogs, a lot of different things. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge, percentage of our revenue is spent on online advertising.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think this is so awesome. Yeah, you guys have incredible designs too. I mean, it's no wonder all these different places are buying your your furniture because they look amazing.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
They really do.
But it's interesting. I don't know what the future is going to hold for the industry. Like I mentioned earlier, I think there's a lot of still opportunity, and I don't think there's a lot of experts that say that once industry reaches like 20% e-commerce penetration, that the true players will kind of emerge. But Amazon certainly shaking things up, and they're making the decision to kind of get more into the furniture business, and we'll see how that goes. Wayfair's made some pretty big waves, but most of the furniture firms are either wholesale or they have pretty large existing footprints, so there's quite a bit of brick and mortar cost to keep up with. And I'll say that we could have a really big showroom in a couple different major cities for what we spend on advertising every month, but it allows us to pivot easily by not having these dedicated spaces. So
So do you guys ever have issues with people assembling the furniture when it arrives?
We do. Most of the stuff is shipped. I don't know the exact breakdown, but a large portion of it is shipped fully assembled.
Oh, so, really? Oh, that makes it a lot easier.
I would say maybe half of it is. The rest of it is usually pretty easy assembling, and we try to make sure that we're in constant communication with customers to make sure they had a good experience, with assembly. And if there's continue to run into issues, we have reporting measures to make changes on how we assemble things. And I love IKEA, and I think how they package and require the assembly on things it's just amazing that they're able to get that much product into a container. But it's not the best customer experience all the time. So I think we're really willing to overlook it because it's such a good value proposition. But we try to make sure that customers have a good experience with assembly and keep it simple.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. Well, I mean, thank you so much for your time, Jordan. I mean, this has been really fun. I mean, it's fun to learn about, because I talk to so many people in the soft goods space, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I guess the furniture space, there's not like I don't know, some euphemism that people use to describe your guys' businesses, but or people in the furniture business. But it is so cool. I mean, it's fun to see, and I don't know if you go through this, but it's just fun to see people create and or see like raw materials become something that beautiful. And I think you guys just make it look so cool, and so that's really awesome.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And we're certainly, at the end of the day, we really love furniture and love creating and love everybody in our office and staff like loves what we do, and try to make sure everybody's pleased with their experience, and just love being part of something that's growing, and enjoying every minute of it. But we got challenges too, and we kind of embrace those, and like to figure out ways to overcome those, and yeah, for sure. So
yeah, very cool.
I'm just because I read you guys started it up on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
how many years did you guys get rolling?
So it took us about a year to get our first product launched. A little over a year actually, from when I came up with the idea for our first backpack, the backpack that we sell. And it just took me forever to kind of get that design together and to figure out, the design components, how I wanted it to look, getting the idea to transfer to paper and then to manufacturing. So it took so long, but we've been going from when we first started selling, we've been around about 2 years, almost 2. I guess it'll be 2 years this spring. So only a year and a half actually. So yeah, it's been kind of a wild ride. But,
yeah, so you have the modern day briefcase.
Yeah.
And you launched the website a year and a half ago, or did
we launched the website. We did launch the website a year and a half ago. We actually didn't start selling on there for a little while, because we launched it when we launched our Kickstarter, just so we had a big online footprint, so people could find us and learn more about the products and such.
Sure. So,
yeah.
And I guess who would be? I've never seen anything quite like it. So, do you have any competitors out there, or is it really more?
I hate to say I'm competing with like Toomey, but that would be kind of the business backpack, kind of quintessential business backpack out there was kind of a Toomey, or even maybe like a Filson. But we just, I had this idea in Italy. I was over in Italy buying leather for a company I used to work for, and I was like, what if I could just have a bag that was really nice and organized, and looked nice, kind of had that nice, older style look with wax, cotton, and leather, and from that idea came, it was just like, that was about 3 years ago when I had that idea. So it's been kind of a wild ride.
That's awesome. And obviously I'm on the road a decent amount, and I see everybody with these like kind of ugly Victorinox business backpacks.
Yeah.
As a design guy myself, I'm like, why can we not do better with
yeah.
just make it better. Somebody make something better.
Yeah.
So the marketplace, and that's what you got here. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
It's such a wild ride. And it's funny, I talk to all my friends that are still attorneys, and they're just like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
And then I explain it to them. They're like, can I come work for you? And I'm like, no, sorry. we don't need any attorneys. Nobody.
Where are you based?
We're out of Utah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're in Utah. We're at Provo, Utah. We're south of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice area. I'm actually coming out there to ski in January.
Oh, really? Okay.
Way. But yeah, that's awesome. Have you had like a hard time finding people out there to work for you, or has it been pretty
There's actually a design. Well, BYU has a pretty strong industrial design program, and so I'll find a sophomore or junior, work with them for a little bit, and then they'll go on to. My first one went to Levi's, and my last one went to Patagonia. So
okay.
I have another one that I have another one I'm starting to work with. I mean, they just have like a stable of these designers who are, really motivated and ambitious and hardworking, and and so it's great to get them in. You work with them, and so on that side, not really hard to find designers, because I think that's the hardest thing is design, finding someone who can, you can tell them something and they can understand and put it on paper and talk to the manufacturer and make all that stuff kind of work. So we've been pretty lucky in being where we are. So, but
sure. Yeah, I can see that. Like for your product, it's definitely needs a lot more. Coming from my industry, like furniture, there's so much that's been done.
Yeah,
it's like everything's just like a little bit of an iteration of something that you've seen before. So so what's challenging is like certainly not designing a great chair, but designing a great chair and manufacturing it for $40. Like that's the true chair that holds up and looks good and in a Starbucks. So that's the hard thing.
Oh yeah. That's very, you got a lot more complexity, a lot more failure points or points of failure than we do. We have zippers and leather, and I mean some of these designs you got here with so many screws and stuff, and joints or whatever, and how everything's go together. That would be a lot more complex than what we're doing. That's for sure.
For sure, like the QC on all that stuff becomes complicated, but there's definitely the right people that create the processes. I mean, we can catch things when things need to be caught, and we warranty things for quite a long time, so we're constantly making sure that that's not costing us a lot more long run, and we're staying on top of it. But awesome,
very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jordan. I had a great time getting to know you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. Please don't forget to check out both of our websites, industrywest.com and brettoncompany.com, and you can use that joint coupon code that we are offering, BrettonIW, for 15% off your purchase, and that's spelled BRETONIW. Have a great day.